Hey friends, today we are working on a Wildcat X, a 1000X to be exact. I believe 2011, Arctic Cat of course, 1000X Wildcat. I believe the gen is 2011 to 2016. I actually had all kinds of bad luck today. I believe I blew my rear diff for starters. All a bunch of fluid in there and such, bad times anyway. But yeah, power shaft spins, but going into the case, if you give it any real throttle at all, it squeals like crazy. It'll move a little bit, but you push a little bit and it'll squeal like crazy. I'm not sure if I blew a gear or a bearing or what it is. I don't know enough about them. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about now. A couple hours later, I came out after I limped it home. I actually ended up pulling it home with a quad. But after I got it home, I parked it for a bit. And my starter apparently did the dreaded Arctic Cat starter thing, where they strip the gears or break the case or whatever it is they do. No matter what, they always do some damage. So, very, very common Arctic Cat thing. If you've been on the forums, on the Facebook groups, whatever it is, I would strongly recommend it, by the way. If you're not on the groups already, I would encourage you to do so. These guys are the only reason I know the stuff that I do, which is very little. But it's people like that that make me want to make videos and help people out like this, because they've got a lot of knowledge and I want to share it as well. So, pretty straightforward. You got your stator cover. Obviously, the tools you need for this are pretty simple. 19mm socket. I use an impact and of course my light, and I use an impact with a 3/8 chalk or bit or whatever you call it, ratchet, a wobbler or a universal joint or whatever you want to call it, extension, and then of course your T30 Torx for these screws here. Now these screws all came out of that cover. Actually, you got to be careful when you pull it off. It's on there pretty good. There is a gasket in there as well, a green gasket, so you want to be careful with that. Make sure you don't mess it up. And actually, it's a lot harder for me to do this with one hand. Actually, if I had to get the kids to hold it earlier, I'd started another video and then I messed it up. So anyway, I went ahead and I pulled it back. You got to be real careful. It is the stator after all, so it's very magnetized. You want to make sure you don't break anything. You got your cable coming in there. And then, of course, your gear shift, your lever, your indicator, that all goes into the transmission there, your cable and all that. You can see everything's covered in oil here now. And there's your shaft. I forget what they call it. A gentleman on the forum just told me what that's called. But anyway, here's the problem. Mine makes horrible gears or sounds when you're cranking it. And obviously, this is why. Check that out. You can see the starter gear teeth are shredded, and that where it goes in to this piece are shredded as well. Actually looks like, which is a very common problem with these, but it's better that it breaks that than it splits the whole freaking engine case. I've heard of that happening as well, and apparently if it actually splits your case, then obviously you got to change your motor, because that's all you can do. Fortunately, I was blessed enough that that's not the problem here. So anyway, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm asking the guys on the forum now to see. They've got an upgraded starter kit actually that apparently avoids this, or it reduces the odds of this happening anyhow. And hopefully I can get a better starter kit and then not have to worry about this anymore. I wanted to know, the only question I've got left now is, will that, it's actually a different starter kit, so what it does is it changes the gearing of the starter to this wheel. This wheel just slides right off real easy. I'll see if I can do that while holding the camera. This wheel is just completely loose, as you can see. That just slides in place. Oh crap, now the other gear fell off too. I'll pop that back on. But anyway, well here, hold on, I'll just do that immediately actually. Anyway, there's a pin in there that gear sits on. Just make sure you're careful on how it comes off, and make sure if it falls off, you know which way it was on there. It sits on that pin in there. Just make sure you put it back together properly. But anyway, as you can see, be real careful. You don't want to spray dirt in there or anything like that either. But yeah, like I said, as you can see, that gear is shredded. And unfortunately, this one don't look so hot either. At spots, it's chewed up. You got a chunk missing out of there. It's actually not even so bad. I mean, somebody could potentially, theoretically, reuse this gear, I suppose, but I would strongly recommend encouraging it at this point. Sorry, I'm looking at it myself, and I failed to realize that the camera might not see it so well. But anyway, yeah, you want to inspect those teeth properly and make sure that it's all right. You see there's the biggest chunk is right there that's missing. But anyway, they make a kit. Luckily, it's a very expensive kit from my memory. What is it, 250 US plus shipping? It's probably going to cost me 400 by the time it gets to where I'm at. But anyway, so basically that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. Starters back there, I've actually never changed them. Well, I've done a few starters on machines, you know, dirt bikes and stuff, but shouldn't be too hard to do on this unit, I would expect. A couple of bolts. You might have to pull the paneling off on the back there. You might have to take the seats out and pull the panels off to get at it better, but shouldn't be too complicated. Like I said, just make sure you drain the oil out first, then you use your 19 mil for that, and you pull your T-bolts out. You make sure you keep track of how your gears are in there, make sure they don't fall out, make sure, you know, if you're going to catch them in an oil pan, that they don't fall into the oil pan and disappear forever. And might as well take a look at everything else while you're in there. But no, I'm going to go ahead and, unless somebody advises me against it, I'm going to put the upgrade kit in there, and hopefully we won't have this problem again, actually. And while we're here, a lot of what the guys were saying was, if you've got one that's running poorly, because when you start these up and they go when you crank them up, of course you got your basic starter sound like but at the same time, sometimes it sounds like somebody's pounding around on aluminum in there with a hammer, and they say it will literally split your engine case, actually. Like it's backfiring as it tries to start, and they've got a one-way bearing or something in there that it kicks against, and oh, it sounds violent. It's pretty dang bad. So they say you want to make sure you keep your Wildcat in good running order. When you turn the key on, let the pump prime, wait till the pump shuts off before you start it. Try not to start it when it's too cold. If it's too cold, try to keep it warm or put a block heater on or something. And keep your plugs good. The plugs would be up here somewhere. I'm sure that's where your heads are. I've never actually done the plugs on one of these, but I'm sure it can't be too complicated. You got a twin, so there's one head there and there's one head there, so can't be too difficult, I'm sure. Change your plugs, make sure they're gapped properly, make sure you're getting, well, everything's good. Your fuel system, everything is how it should be. You got the right plugs, and make it run smooth. Some guys say a programmer helps, but anyhow, I'm sure I'm missing something. I'm always kind of unorganized. I apologize for that, but hope this video helps somebody. Like I said, it's pretty straightforward what we did here today. I've never done it in my life, and not hard to do. Once I get off this video, I'm going to go back in my video feed and actually make sure I'm putting it all back together properly. Because I actually don't remember, to be honest, as far as just mainly what way that gear goes on there. Round edges out or flat edge out. Because it's got two different ones, right? You got round on one side and flat on the other. So I got to make sure I'm putting it back together properly. Not that it'll matter. This thing won't be running until it gets a new diff and a new starter. But anyway, hope this video helps somebody. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to comment. I'm usually pretty quick on that, within a day at least. And yeah, as always, may God bless you.